go over some of Zakk's different walks with an energetic puppy. What we have here today is Mr. Charlie. What he's going to be able to show off for me is kind of your puppy that definitely has his own mindset, his own ideas and agendas a few times. And we're going to be trying to be able to help him figure out more human definitions for how we go on walk with people instead of putting more priority into his own walk. So the way that we're going to be working on that is the main priority for people watching at home currently is that I would love to be able to have people start mimicking how I'm working and being able to kind of mimic my body posturing, how I interact with the dog, how many times I interact with the dog, and what I'm saying to the dog. So that way we can start getting a more working mentality in our puppy and a more calm and more kind of confident working mentality inside the person as well. So that we understand what do we want to do with ourselves from the beginning of the walk to the middle of the walk towards the end of the walk, so we can kind of have our own little story already pre-written and planned out before we begin the walk. So the beginning of this walk, what we're going to be showing is the different leashes and things that I'm going to be using for this walk. This is just a very short healer's leash with no handle on the end of it. Kind of allows me to be able to move it between my hands more effectively. It's a slip lead, so all it's designed to do is just to be able to hold on up to the top portion of the neck, so I'm not getting any of that from our puppies, so that we can start having some better confirmation for our corrections to our little one. Things that we're working on at the beginning of the walk, we're going to start this walk inside a pack walk. P-A-K-W-A-L-K. This is our pack walk with our puppy. The way that this pack walk works is getting our puppy to start putting more priority and to paying attention towards the pack due to the why, what's, and hows, and what's going on inside this entire example here. So the why am I doing this pack walk is to get my puppy to pay more attention, because most of my puppies love to do this behavior, or they will go anywhere and everywhere but where I'm wanting to go. Even from the first step that I start walking with my puppies, they may not be even paying attention. So if I only have a puppy that's paying attention from the first step of my walk, there's not a whole bunch of purpose in going on a walk for the second and third step if I'm already going to begin with my puppy already answering that question wrong. So the way to be able to get my puppy to start answering that question right more often than not, you start working the mental portion of your leash work with your puppies. Leash work with our puppies is the purpose of being able to get mental exhaustion in our little ones after we've already done physical work with our little ones, for something like an example of being able to work on long distance recalls or being able to work on fetch or other kind of games where we're getting our puppy to run consistently back and forth to get physical exercise out. A mental exercise session for me would be leash work. Leash work to begin with pack walks can start to have a puppy be able to prioritize and put more emphasis in the pack itself instead of putting so much emphasis inside themselves, which is being in a greedy mindset compared to what I would like for my puppies and my workers to start doing for us. So ways that I can start having my puppy to be able to pay more attention to the pack walk in correlation with our corrections here. The first correction that we've been doing constantly has been this reset. A reset for me is nothing different than what we're doing. We're just going forward, we're going straight back, right? So the ways that we're going to be able to reinforce this reset though is with the second correction, that bump, 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 to be able to get our puppy to start moving a little bit. So I know it's not moving very far right now, but again, I'm running off the policy of if I can't get a puppy paying attention from the first step, I'm not going to go very far. So pack walk is not supposed to look like etiquette where you're having a puppy that is walking in perfect tandem with you. Pack walk is about having a puppy that will pay attention to the pack leader and turn as associated needed. So if I turn, I would love for puppy to just have this idea, I should probably turn with the pack leader. The reason to turn with the pack leader is that for some reason I always end up going the way of the pack leader. How do I end up going back towards the pack leader each time? It's reinforced. The bump, 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 the reset always guarantees that how I answer for my puppy. The why we should do it is because you're not leading the pack. The pack leader is running the pack. The pack leader is setting in motion to exactly what we should be doing with ourselves. Even if it is something as simple as taking one step and then turning back around is much more effective, yes, than having a mentality of my puppy wanting to just do their own thing. Because as they pay attention more to the pack leader, they start to have an easier walk, and the walk cycle becomes better and easier and just more enjoyable for both parties. And we like to kind of get rid of that weird, clash up that we have going on in our puppies' heads, where they're constantly getting this correction and they're just kind of choking on their lines, and they're not understanding, how can I avoid this? Why should I avoid this? And what are we doing? So currently I'm being able to give that puppy all of those answers to all of those questions, so he can come up with a proper definition for what does a walk look like. A walk should look like kind of what our puppy has now morphed into. This is a pack walk. Pack walking is, if I turn, I would love for you to, yes, just turn with me. I'm not asking for much, so I'm keeping the expectations low enough so that way my puppy can understand that whenever we turn, it's a great idea to turn with the pack leader. Paying attention to the pack leader, yes. Can start rewarding me, it can start paying me, it can start actually giving me dividends for paying attention to the pack leader instead of just doing my own thing. But I've given puppy all the answers for a lot of these questions that'll pop up into his head, so that way he can just remain on track with what he's supposed to be doing with himself. So as we keep walking here, I'm going to move into another portion. So the video is going to be a little bit longer than what most of them would be, but this is still going over my different kind of walk cycles that I would do with my puppy. So passively, we're going to move into an etiquette walk. An etiquette walk for me is where we are having our puppy actually walking in slot beside us. A slotted position beside us would be having our puppy walking beside me. So as my puppy walks beside me, this is looking for that etiquette position, and I can reinforce that etiquette position with bumps, and I can reinforce that etiquette position with the other known correction, or reset. Where we turn, I would love the puppy to have the idea to turn with me at the same time. Don't try to resist me. But I can also give my puppy a heads up, yes, and understanding of when I should probably really pay attention, that we are actually, that we're turning. No ifs, ands, or buts. If Zakk asks me, what's 2 + 2? By golly, I know it's 4 every single time, and I'm excited when he asks me what 2 + 2 is. So his 2 + 2 question is that whenever I say, let's go, yes. I would love for puppy to have the reception of, well, I understand exactly what let's go is, because that's my recall phrase. I understand what it means because, yes, that means that I can pay attention. And I understand that if I turn around and I see Zakk, pack walking has told me that I should probably go back towards him. But if I don't know where to go, he's probably going to give me that answer as well. Yes. Which is that downward hand, which would be our recall behavior with our puppy, that you can absolutely implement to all of your walking sessions. But as we walk with our puppy, we start to morph both of those walks into one. What you turn your walk into is you're now doing etiquette walk and you're also pack walking at the same time. You're just dictating, what am I, yes, what am I looking for my puppy to do, and where would I like for him to be, and what would I like for both of us to do. So if I would like for him to have leisure, then we can just have a pack walk where he's allowed to be able to drift a little bit, but not very much. But most of the times, if you've driven in pack walk and you've driven in etiquette walking with your puppy, and they understand the corrections, why they're getting corrected, how to avoid the correction, and what to do whenever I do get corrected, then you have a confident, comfortable puppy with going on a walk with you, who's comfortable and confident to make correct choices, who is also comfortable and confident with making incorrect choices, because both of those work yin and yang together. And I don't, and I don't want a puppy who's confused or upset or too anxious to try to make a difference between the two questions and answers. He can come up with his own answers more often than not, because I'm hoping that everybody has also noticed how much I've actually physically and verbally needed to tell little Mr. Charlie down here, to do since we started the session. It hasn't been much of anything, so that way I've been able to allow him to work on bare minimum, so that way I can work on bare minimum with him. But bare minimum for both of us is extremely important, because bare minimum is going on a walk. And right now we're going on a walk. And that's Zakk's walk.